Hello guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to give you the most asked question that I have made ever since I started a video of poultry. How many kilograms do I feed my birds per day? Now I'm going to specifically talk about feeding 100 birds, and this is for layers. So if you have layers or you're planning to start with 100 birds, this video is going to be very helpful. I'm going to tell you the amount of food that each bird needs to consume, and the amount of food that your birds are going to consume in a day, and the amount of food your birds are going to consume in a week. And so that is going to help you to plan ahead if you're going to buy the birds, or if you have the birds and you have been underfeeding them or you have been overfeeding them. This video is here to correct you and to guide you so that you can maximize your little profits on your poultry farm. You are welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are watching me for the very first time, my name is Asperia, a very passionate poultry farmer, and I share knowledge that has helped me to thrive in this venture, and this is going to help you, especially for small beginners. Please make sure you watch this video to the end. Now, so many people have a problem with watching long form videos. They be like, after 2 minutes they drop off, and then tomorrow they come with a very question: how do I feed my layers? Now this video is going to answer your question, so watch it up to the end. Please like the video, share it with your friends, and let's get right into the video. And so if you are a poultry farmer, you see I have my book. I've written down the things I really do not want misguide you, so you're going to give attention to this video. Now you and I know that in poultry farming the biggest cost of production goes into feeding the birds. Actually, if you're to bring the birds, the first question you should have in your mind: am I going to be able to feed the birds? And then when you discover that you are going to be able, and then you can go ahead and bring the birds, because birds can grow as long as you have the food. Of course, other factors constant. Food is very important in your poultry farm. Now, if you do not feed your birds properly, you're going to get losses. If you overfeed or underfeed, it's going to be disastrous on your farm. So you have to make sure you give your birds exactly the amount of food they need to grow. These birds are very funny. If you give them very much food, they are going to eat it and leave nothing. And at the end of the day, they will still lay one egg. So we have to be very careful in feeding. Now, I did a video about feed formulations. Now that video is here on the channel. It is going to help you know what your birds need to eat at which particular stage. So in this video specifically, I'm going to talk about amounts. Now, from week 1, your birds, the very first day, from 1 day up to day 7, that is the very first week. In my birds, I started them on pre-starter. Of course, I use cow-dized feeds, and they have pre-starter and then starter. Now, other companies, they have starter. It is very fine, depending on the concentrates or the company that you're buying your feeds from. So I started them on pre-starter. It is loaded with a lot of nutrients, but they are in a pellet form. They are like pellets, and so that these birds are able to see the feeds. Since it is their first time to be on the earth, they are able to see the feeds, and so they are able to discover and be able to eat. And so each bird needs about 12 to 15 grams per day. Each chick needs about 12 to 15 grams per day. So if you have 100 birds, that means in a day you're going to use around 1.2 or 1.5 kilograms of pre-starter feeds. In a week, you're going to use around 7 kilograms or around 10 kilograms maximum for your birds, especially if you are using the feeds that I use. So the feeds that are in a pellet form, they don't need too much. Now for us, we don't know. Sometimes you feel like putting too much food, especially for the chicks. They are going to eat exactly what they will eat, and the remaining food will be wasted. So avoid wasting food. So in the very first day of your birds, make sure you measure 1.2 kilograms or at most 1.5, 1.5 kilograms put it on the brooder paper or on the trays as you have organized to feed your birds, and that is going to be enough for your birds. At this time, they are learning how to eat. They need the nutrients, but then they have not learned how to overeat. Just like a little baby, you cannot give a baby 5 cups of porridge. So you have to start with a spoon. As they continue growing, you're going to see that the amount of food is also going to continue raising. So that is it for week 1. And so on the second week, they are still after the second week. For you who are using cowardice feeds, we go to pre-starter. Now pre-starter is also very filled with a lot of nutrients, because at this time the birds are growing. We need them to grow very fast. They need a lot of proteins. So we are going to mix our feeds, and we call them pre-starter. And so at that time, your chicks need around 18 to 22 grams per day. So a chick needs around 18 to 22 grams per day. For your 100 birds, that means in a day, they're approximately going to eat 2 kilograms of feed. Can you imagine? Have you been feeding the feeders with a lot of food and the birds continue eating and wasting? They don't need all that. They need 2 kilograms a day. 100 birds. That's enough for them, because at this time they are growing, but they are still young. And so that means in a week they are going to consume around 14 kilograms. So if you calculate the feeds very well, you know that you're not wasting the feeds. You are sure you are on a right track to getting profits on your small farm. And on week 3, they are still taking that pre-starter up to week 4. So they are going to need week 3. They are going to need 25 grams, and for the whole flock, 100 birds, that is 2.5 kilograms per day. You see, as the weeks go up, the feeds also continue to raise. So because now the birds continue to grow and the need for food continues to increase in their bodies. So make sure you go on increasing the feeds per day. And for the whole week, they're going to consume 17.5 kilograms. Is that really not nice? You are still able to feed at that particular time, because you are measuring the feeds, giving the birds exactly what they need. You're not wasting any feeds. And on week 4, they are going to need 30 grams of feed. This time they are growing big. It is now their very first month. So they will need 30 grams. That means for your entire 100 birds, you're going to feed them 3 kilograms. 3 kilograms. Get your weighing scale, measure the kilograms, and go put, as long as you put in each feeder, that is all they need. 3 kilograms in a day. And in a week, that is going to be around 21 kilograms. Isn't that really still affordable? As long as you're measuring the feeds. Week 5, they are going to need 35 grams. You see, 35, that is 3.5 kilograms for the whole flock. Because you get 35 grams times 100, 100 birds. And so at this time, they need 3.5 kilograms per day. And that makes it 24.5 kilograms a week. So for the entire week, your birds will consume 24 kilograms. Take note of that. And so on week 6, they are going to need 40 grams. 40 grams is equal to 4.0 kilograms for 100 birds. Now each bird is going to just take 40 grams. That is all it needs. That is what their stomach can carry. So don't get worried. My birds, I'm giving them a little food. No, give them that, because that is all they need to grow. If you put too much, some of it gets wasted, because the birds are still young. Remember, they're not eating like rapidly. So make sure you give them exactly what they need, so that you can minimize the cost of production. Now at week 8, they are also going to need 50 grams. For your entire flock, you're going to use 5 kilograms in a day, and in a week it's going to be 35 kilograms. Do you see how it is going up? It continues going up as the birds grow. So after week 8, we are going to start them on growers mash. And at this time, from week 9 up to week 10, they are going to be eating 55 grams of growers mash. And so 55 makes it 5.5 kilograms for the entire flock, 100 birds. And so in a week, they are going to be eating 38 kilograms. Is that really too much? It's still affordable, you know, as long as you are weighing your feeds very well, you're measuring and mixing the right feeds, they will need this. And from week 11 to week 13, they are going to be needing 65 grams. Now, for us who are using caddies, at this time we give them pre-layer. So at this time we make it like layers mash. Remember, the other feeds, growers mash, we use broiler concentrate for them, because at this time we need them to grow fat. We need them to put on the meat on their bodies. So now they are prepared. From week 12, they are now preparing to start laying eggs. So we have to prepare their bodies to be able to start laying the eggs. So we give them pre-layer, and that pre-layer will now change from broiler concentrate to layers concentrate. Of course, you measure exactly what you need to put in each feeds. You don't, put too much or too little. You put enough. And so at this time, the birds are now planning to grow. And so we shall give them 65 grams, which means in the whole day, your birds are going to take 6.5 kilograms of feed. And in a week, that makes it 45.5 kilograms. And as week 14 to 16, that is the time when the birds actually start laying. Are expected to start laying. My layer started laying at week 16. And so in their feeds now, we start adding calcium, which is limestone. And so we give these birds, each bird right now, it has grown and it is preparing to lay. So they need 75 grams of feed in their bodies, and that makes it 7.5 kilograms per day for the entire flock. And in a week, they will consume around 52.5 kilograms of feeds. And so at week 17 to 18, some birds have started dropping the eggs, of course very few, but then at least by week 18, most of them are going to be laying. At that time, we increase to 85 grams per bird. Each bird is needing 85 grams of feed. And so at this time, that means your entire flock is going to take 8.5 kilograms per day for the 2 weeks, week 17 and 18. And in a day, they are going to be in a week, they are going to be consuming 59.5 kilograms. Is that really hard to understand? And so at this time, your birds are starting to lay, they're enjoying the laying, you have started getting your very first eggs, and so you need to feed your birds very well so that they can lay good eggs. Remember, I'm only talking about feeds, but there are other things like water, fresh clean water, multivitamins, booster doses of vaccines that you need to give your birds at that particular stage. So this video is about feeds. And so from weeks 19 up to 20, we are giving them layers mash. Remember, they have been on pre-layer. And so from 19 to 20, we are going to give them layers mash. And so layers mash, this time they have started laying eggs and they have started, consuming a lot of food. They need energy. So we are going to give them 90 grams, between 90 grams to 100 grams. They are now mature hens. They can really eat. So I was giving mine 100 grams, which means in a day, 100 birds are going to consume 10 kilograms. And in a week, they are going to be around 70 kilograms of feed. So make sure you weigh your feeds exactly. Now in this particular instance, I be feeding these birds twice a day. I give them 5 kilograms in the morning and 5 kilograms in the evening, or I can give them 7 kilograms in the morning and 3 kilograms in the evening, because in the morning they need a lot of energy to lay the eggs, plus they are going to be in throughout the day, while in the evening they have a very shorter interval of feeding. They are going to sleep in the night. So make sure you measure the feeds very well. Now from week 21 up to week 45 they are on layers mash, but now in cow days we have a stage called pre-peak, but then others do not have, so we generalize it to layers mash, layers 2. And here you increase the concentration of calcium, because as your birds grow they need more calcium, so we increase calcium and we reduce maize. If we have been using 50 kilograms of maize, we now use 43. That's not exactly, but we reduce it down, and then the number of kilograms of maize bran also increases, because we want to give our birds enough nutrients. We don't want them to grow very fat, we don't want them to become very small, so we give them adequate so that they maintain a healthy weight, so that they continue laying very good sized eggs. So we increase the concentration of calcium so that the eggshells are superb. So from week 45, at this time week 21 to week 45, you can now increase it to 110 grams or 125 grams depending on the way. If you observe and see that your birds are eating really very fast, make it 125 or 110, and then in a day they will be consuming either 11 kilograms or 12.5 kilograms. 100 birds, enough. 12 kilograms are enough for all the flock. And then in the week that makes it either between 77 to 88 kilograms. So you make sure you measure the feeds very well so that your birds can grow very well and lay very well. So with these things that I've shared, get your book, write them down, and then start looking around. Have you been feeding your feeds exactly what they need? Or you just wake up, the sacks of feeds are there, you just scoop and bring. You don't know whether you have brought 10 kilograms, you don't know whether today you gave 7. So if you do not calculate the cost of feeding very well, you're going to make a loss, because now you realize that you find that your birds, instead of eating like 10,000 a day, they're eating 30,000. They are giving you 3 trays, and that is an equivalent of 30,000. You are not making profit. So make sure you measure your feeds very well. I believe you found something helpful in this video. If that is so, please do not be selfish. Like the video, share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe. Farming is very beautiful.